So, guys, I have come across this article in the Express, and bear in mind this article is dated January the 12th, 2020. So, 2020. And Harry and Meghan announced that they were leaving the royal family in, I believe, December 2019, after they had spent about 6 weeks on holiday in Canada. And they announced this, I believe it was on Instagram, that they were leaving and they wanted a sort of half in, half out arrangement, which I think everyone is forgetting because obviously they've said so much about the royal family and her mental health and how she wanted to kill herself, and racism. But I think what everyone's forgetting is that they initially wanted to be half in and half out. So they still wanted to be working members of the royal family, but they wanted their duty to be pared down. So they no longer wanted to be senior working members of the royal family because they no longer wanted to do that much work, in my view. And they didn't want that much work and that much responsibility. But they wanted to be financially independent, is what they said. So they wanted the freedom to basically earn money in whatever way they wanted. So that was their reason for leaving the royal family. And I think everyone forgets that. So here we have the 12th of January 2020, and there is this article in the Express that says, this is a threat. Meghan and Harry's explosive tell-all interview puts pressure on Queen. The fears of an explosive tell-all interview from Meghan Markle and Prince Harry could risk a proper monarchical crisis as tensions grow within the palace. Now, this article was written before the Sandringham summit, so before there was a deal hashed out between the Queen and Harry and Meghan as to what would be entailed in order for them to basically step down as senior members of the royal family. And obviously what we know is that the Queen was like, well, sorry, you can't be half in, half out. You got to go, or you're in or you're out. So then they ended up going out, and then she said, okay, have a year to think about it and then come back. And then obviously they didn't. So news this morning that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are planning an explosive tell-all interview if the Queen doesn't give in to their demands has rocked Buckingham Palace. So let's look at that again. News this morning that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are planning an explosive tell-all interview if the Queen doesn't give in to their demands. So that explosive interview ended up being the Oprah interview, which I believe was in March 2021, when it was known to the family that Prince Philip was dying, and Prince Philip was in hospital at that time, and he was nearing the end of his life. And as we know, he died shortly after the Oprah interview. Now, that is my understanding that this threat of a tell-all interview subsequently ended up being the Oprah interview. That ended up being in March 2021, and this article was written in January 2020. So over a year before the Oprah interview, this article was written. So this article foretold the Oprah interview. So in my view, what this article is saying is that they were threatening the palace, that they were going to do a tell-all interview if the Queen didn't give in to their demands in the Sandringham summit. So they wanted a certain package, as it were. And if the Queen wasn't going to give them that package, then they were going to do this tell-all interview. So it says ITN's Tom Bradbury, a close friend of Harry. Now, you may remember Tom Bradbury was the guy who interviewed Harry and Meghan when they went to South Africa. They did the South Africa tour, and he was the famous one who got the interview where Harry was saying, you know, the rift between my brother, where Harry said, you know, every time I hear a click of a camera, it brings me back. And Meghan was like, oh, nobody asks if I'm okay. And he was the guy who Harry did an interview with about the book Spear. I think it was his only UK interview. And so Tom Bradbury is thought of as somebody who is quite close to Harry and Meghan. So I would think that anything he would say would be quite credible and would either directly come from them or from a very good source. So I would think that what he says is the truth. So ITN's Tom Bradby, a close friend of Harry, revealed and the planned interview would take place if the royal family mishandles the crunch talks with the couple. So it's a threat against the royal family. This comes as the Queen has summoned senior royals to Sandringham on Monday for face-to-face talks to discuss the future roles of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So that was the meeting that had Charles, William, and the Queen, and the Duke of Edinburgh was absent, either because he was too unwell or too distressed to attend the meeting. And actually, I should say that's quite a big thing for the Duke of Edinburgh not to be there, because he was the head of the family. And so, you know, he was known for resolving conflicts and essentially being in charge of the family, whilst the Queen had her role as the Queen. And the fact that he wasn't even there just shows that either he was just so distressed by this, or he was just so unwell that they didn't want him to be bothered by it. And the fact that all this nonsense was going on, it's just so disappointing. Anyway, palace officials told the BBC that Prince Harry, the Duke of and the Duke of Cambridge and the Prince of Wales will attend, while Meghan is expected to join the discussion over the phone from Canada. Of course, because at this point she'd buggered off to Canada and left Harry in England to deal with Megxit all by himself. Andrew Marr said on BBC One today, Tom Bradby from ITN has warned that if the royal family mishandle this, there might be an interview with Harry and Meghan, presumably with Bradby, which will be even more incandescently dangerous for them. Alison Phillips, editor of the Daily Mirror, told Marr it is an implied threat. Bradby is suggesting the interview they could do would claim racism and sexism is at the heart of the palace, and this could really shake the monarchy. Marr added, this could turn into a proper monarchical crisis. Writing in the Sunday Times, Mr. Bradby said that he had some idea of what could come out in the interview and it would not be pretty. Meghan and Harry previously opened up to Bradby about their struggles of royal life in the ITV documentary filmed during their Africa tour last year. At the same time as Bradby's article, there's also speculation in the US that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry could sit down with a close friend and CBS host Gayle King. Now we know it obviously ended up being Oprah Winfrey. I mean, why would it be Gayle King? Of course it would be Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is more known. She has a bigger platform and she's basically one of the most famous and some may say experienced and skilled interviewers in the world. And obviously Oprah Winfrey, it is well known, was asking for an interview with Princess Diana, which she refused. So shame on you, Harry. Asking for an interview with Prince Charles. And he refused. She's interviewed Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. So this woman, Oprah Winfrey, just kind of, I don't know what it is, but just wants the royal scoop. And so she unfortunately got Harry through Meghan. So there we are. So of course it would have been Oprah rather than Gayle King, please. And Gayle King is Oprah Winfrey's best friend. That is well known. So obviously, if Gayle King was close to Meghan or had the deal, she would have passed it on to Oprah without a shadow of a doubt. So Page Six suggested that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex could plan an interview with CBS News chief anchor to discuss their shock decision to step down from royal duties. Well, we know that ended up being Oprah. The bombshell announcement on Wednesday, dubbed Megxit, saw Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announce plans for a more progressive role in the royal family. So let's not forget, their plan, their demand was that they wanted to still remain within the royal family, but they wanted a lesser role and they wanted to bugger off and get whatever money they wanted and bugger off and do whatever books, Netflix documentaries, Oprah Winfrey interviews, whatever they wanted to do, and pocket millions and millions of dollars and do influencing and do merchandising, which Meghan loves, and getting things for free. And the Queen was like, no. And as you can see here, it says this includes plans to see them become financially independent and able to earn an income. So that was what they wanted, and the Queen said no. So you know what we can take from this article, which I find very offensive as a British person who has lived through this outcome and the consequences of their interviews and their podcasts and their airing of dirty laundry and disloyalty to the royal family and disclosing secrets of the royal family. And I've had to live through that as a British person in Britain, and it is disgusting. And the racism and the this and this. And I've had to constantly defend my country and defend my royal family. And it's just disgusting. And so to now see that they had always planned to do this interview. So this interview was on the table as early as January 2020, when they were still working members of the royal family. You know, and the deal wouldn't have been done in 24 hours. So the fact that this was written on the 12th of January, this deal would have been in place for months. And the fact that they had this deal and they were hanging it over the heads of the royal family in order to get a deal is disgusting. It's a threat. How can you threaten the Queen? How can you use it as a threat? I'm going to say this, I'm going to tell this unless you give me what I want. Now, the fact that she didn't give them what they want means that they went off a year and 2-3 months later, when Prince Philip was sick, they went off and they did this interview. So they did exactly what they said they were going to do. And so it's so disgusting that they did it, it seems, because they didn't get what they wanted out of the royal family. And let's not forget, they wanted to be members of the royal family. So all this stuff they do later that is so scathing towards the royal family, it just contradicts itself. It's hypocrisy, because they've only done it to earn money, which is what Harry said in the Oprah interview. You know, if it wasn't for the security, if it wasn't for being cut off for the money, then there would be no Netflix, there would be no Spotify. They have to do it for money. And then also they're doing it because they didn't get what they wanted and they're threatening. So if we take that back for a bit, you know, therefore they're not doing it because they want to bring awareness for mental health. They want to fight to change the media. They want to change the royal family. They want to change the world. They want to help people out there going through the same thing. They want to bring awareness. They want their voice to be heard. They want to defend themselves. They want to show the true narrative. They want to speak their truth. They want to live their authentic self. All the crap that they have brought out as to why they are saying what they're saying, it's nonsense. Because if we rewind it, if they had got what they wanted out of the Sandringham summit, i.e. still working members of the royal family, but you don't have to do all hard work, and you get royal security and you get money, but you can also go off and earn your own money and become international celebrities and use the platform and earn loads and loads and loads of millions. If they had been given that, then they wouldn't have said anything. You wouldn't have heard about Meghan's mental health. You wouldn't have heard about the racist allegations and the racist claims. You wouldn't have heard about Harry's trauma and him always wanting to leave the royal family and Meghan has saved him. You wouldn't have heard anything because it was done out of a threat. They were fulfilling a threat, allegedly, according to this article. So it all would have never happened. So all of this racism, and I'm a woman of color, and women of color who think that Meghan Markle is somehow bringing awareness to the issue of racism and is somehow fighting their cause. Well, this is a slap in the face. Not only was it a slap in the face that Harry said, she didn't say racism, royal family are not racist. Not only was that gaslighting and a slap in the face, but this is a slap in the face because she's only done it because it is a threat, because she didn't get what she wanted. And she's also done it for money. You know, that it would have never happened. And therefore, she would have never got her awards that she's got or that he's got for speaking out against racism. I mean, guys, it honestly never stops. And when are people going to wake up and realize that you're just being fed propaganda and PR and you're being fed a brand and it's not? You know, this whole philanthropy and, you know, having a life of service and being humanitarians. Guys, they set up an Archwell Foundation which also has Archwell Audio and Archwell Production, so that they can go off and make movies, which are nothing to do with humanitarianism. They can go off and do podcasts and Netflix series and then have a producer credit so that they basically get money. That's nothing to do with humanitarianism. And people are giving millions and millions and millions to the Archwell Foundation, whilst Harry and Meghan are earning their own millions and pocketing it. So other people are giving millions to the Archwell Foundation that they are then choosing who they should donate it to. And then it turns out, so this is other people's money. And then it turns out that they had 13 million and they only donated 3 million. So where's the 10 million? And if we're talking about 13 million and 10 million and 3 million, you know, it's reported that they got 100 million for the Netflix series. It's reported that she got 20 odd million for the podcast. It's reported he got 20 odd million for the book. And this is not to mention everything else. So guys, wake up. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please press the like button. Please put a comment in the comment section because it will help with some algorithm stuff with my video so that other people can pick it up. I don't know how it works. I'm not very technical. And please do subscribe to my channel. So yeah, guys, and take care and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about this article. Take care, guys. Bye.